Live Healthy is brought to you by Kirk Market.
Welcome back to Daybreak. Good morning, everyone. As you know, it's Thursday, which means our Live Healthy segment. And of course, I'm here with Andrea Hill, nutrition expert, and it's all about bread this morning. Delicious. It's my favorite part of everything, really.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, their weakness is really bread.
I definitely hear that a lot, that bread is a favorite the way pasta is a favorite for people and candy, right? But bread is no longer a simple choice between white, whole wheat, and rye. There are so many different varieties today, Delisa, and it becomes very confusing when you start looking at the packaging again, what the label says in front to what the ingredient list and what the nutrition facts are actually telling you. So that's what we thought we'd focus on today for people out there.
So we're gonna start with the not so good breads?
Well, you know, generally I think what we want folks out there to know is there are certain types of rules that you can follow to ensure that what you are taking at home is something that is truly whole grain, it's going to give you fiber, and it's not going to be so heavily processed. So generally, when we're looking at breads, the first thing you want to look at is the ingredient list. Okay? So you want to just maybe handpick any particular bread? Okay, sure.
Very, very common here because, you know, people in the Caribbean, we love our hardo bread.
Yes, yes.
And especially with peanut butter and jelly.
Oh yes, well that's a classic combination in itself, I think. But when you look at a bread, for example, like this one it says it's a wheat bran bread. Now a lot of the sort of local bakeries, they're not going to give you the nutrition facts label, so like the fat content, fiber, and so on, but you will get an ingredient list, and that is definitely the first place to start when you're looking at a bread. Now the first ingredient here is enriched wheat flour. That sounds like whole wheat flour, but it is not whole wheat flour. Enriched wheat flour simply means white flour. Okay, and a lot of people do confuse that term wheat flour. So if it says wheat flour, unbleached wheat flour, enriched flour, this all means white flour.
So you're really not getting the wheat that you think you're getting.
Exactly, exactly. So where we are seeing the sort of brown specks to indicate fiber is, in this case, it's coming from wheat bran, and that is listed on the ingredient list. So this is bumping up the fiber, but if we're actually looking for a 100% whole wheat bread, this is not it, unfortunately. So
what else do we need to look for when it comes to the white breads and such that, you know, that we love the taste of? People are always afraid of going to the brown breads or the wheat rye or those kind of breads.
Well, at least what you want is for one slice for it to supply 2 grams of fiber. So if we look at some of these, this farmhouse 12 grain, looking at this, the first one is unbromelated, unbleached, enriched flour. So again, now we know unbleached wheat flour is simply white flour. So this is, even though it's a 12 grain, we're looking at something that is simply white, but it's giving us 3 grams of fiber for one slice. So at least it is giving us some fiber. And the fiber is going to come from ingredients like flax and barley and rye. So a 12 grain would supply some of these other grains.
Okay. Let's go on to the ones that are actually really good for us.
Right.
Just about to run out of time.
Sure.
We have so much fun here.
We go very, very fast on these segments. So, I mean, if you're looking at something 100% whole wheat flour, you want to make sure that this is telling you just the same. Whole wheat flour is the first ingredient on here. And like I said, we're getting at least 2 grams of fiber for one slice. This is giving us 3. The other thing that we want folks out there to look for is the sodium. People watching their pressure, no more than 200 milligrams of sodium per one slice. This definitely follows that 170, right? But again, kind of higher on the higher end. So there are some out there that supply a lot less, like the sprouted grains. The Ezekiel bread here, no preservatives in this. The preservative is only coming from sodium, and this is only 80 milligrams. So if you truly are watching your sodium level, you could really compare the brands and see that, you know, this one does follow it. It's a little lower.
And in case someone is looking for the sprouted one, it's in the freezer section.
It is. Good point.
Why?
Good point. No preservatives, so they do want to put it in there to keep it. And comparing the length of the ingredient list of these ones to some of the other more commercial ones, you'll see why this one needs to be in the freezer. Very, very, very small.
You know, I find sometimes with the young ones, they don't really like the crust. Is it called the crust? The outside of of the bread.
Yeah.
And usually parents will cut it off. Is that a bad thing?
It's not such a big deal. It's the look of it. The kids don't really like it. Nutritionally, they're not kind of missing out on anything that
I've always heard as a kid, like, no, you have to eat the entire bread because this is where all the fiber and everything is, and I'm like,
no, follow the rules, bottom line here. And as long as we have something that has the fiber in it, a true whole grain flour, doesn't matter if the crusts are off.
All right, is that your final thought?
I'd say that's the final thought.
That's the final thought. Thank you very much, Andrea, for telling us more about breads. And everyone, don't forget, you can tune in every Thursday here on Daybreak for your Live Healthy segment, as well as log on to our website and just click on the icon there that says Live Healthy in case you missed this segment. All right, don't go away. There's more coming up after the break. Please stay with us.
Live Healthy is brought to you by Kirk Market.